Speaking of close encounters, have you personally had one of any kind or seen a UFO? Or if anything in the sky is a UFO until it's identified?
Until it's identified, yeah. Anything on the ground is also a UFO until identified.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen a UFO by the popular definition of something that doesn't fall into the parameters of everyday science. I've seen things in the sky that I thought were UFOs and I hoped were UFOs, but turned out to be helicopters or launches from the Vandenberg Air Force Base.
Yeah, it's always disappointing when you find out that they were something else.
Yeah. I had to. It's funny because I have had such a yen to see one. I almost feel a little guilty that I've got Columbia to pay $18 million to let me see one of my own.
I may have once. I saw something that took the quick, the right angle turn.
Oh,
that's
yes,
always part of it.
Exactly.
That no aircraft could take, and so on, and then vanish from sight. And do you know that Jimmy Carter, I think when he was governor, reported officially, wherever you send them in, I guess to the Air Force,
I
two
read
sightings
those reports.
that he made?
I read his reports, and I also was, the American Film Institute was having a benefit at the White House, and there was a receiving line, and Mr. Carter was greeting a lot of people from Hollywood, and I was on the line with George Lucas and some other people, and it was my turn to shake his hand. I said, you know, I'm amazed at your UFO reports when you were governor of Georgia, and I've read all about them. And he cut me off, and he sort of said very politely, well, I'm certain that your movie is a lot more interesting than my reports. And that was all I could get out of him about it.
Yeah, you don't want, when you're in politics, people going around saying, he sees flying saucers, you know. But I sure would love to see one. And I don't think, though, that I would do what I read you would do.
What's that?
That is go on the space shuttle if you could get space at in one of their early flights. Now, this may have been a columnist's dream.
Yeah, I think it was a columnist. I think what I said was that there are several people I know who I would like to send up on the space shuttle.
Oh, that's...
But I would...
It's amazing how a few words can change a quote.
You can change your whole quote entirely, yeah.
Well, when Alfred Hitchcock was sitting more or less where you are, I hit him, as they say, with his allegedly famous quote, or famous alleged quote, actors are cattle. And he said, I'd never say such an insensitive thing. What I said was actors should be treated as cattle. Which is a lot nicer.
A lot nicer, yes, of course.
We talked about Jaws.
To respond to that, yeah.
I took you back to Martha's Vineyard, a place you probably break out into rash, which is even mentioned now because of the long nightmare, really, I guess, of shooting Jaws.
It's a wonderful place to have a terrible nightmare.
We talked about it at great length before, so I won't go into it again. But I did wonder if, had you that film to do over again, can you learn from an experience like that what's wrong, or could the next movie, what am I trying to say?
I mean, if I made Jaws 2, what would I have done that they didn't do that cost them twice as much as Jaws 1?
Yes. Good. You should sit here. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. I would have shot the film in a tank, actually, a lot of the more difficult sequences, and wouldn't have bothered. There's a tank at MGM that's huge, biggest one really in the world.
Yeah.
And I think I would have shot most of the close-up work in a tank.
I know of ironic things like that, where they've gone to great expense to do something in a real place, and then when they screen it, someone says, it looks artificial. Was that done in a studio?
Exactly.
The background is painted, isn't it? They say, no, it's the sky.
It's the real thing, yeah. That's nothing worse than hearing that after you've come off of 7 months making a movie and somebody says, well, you know, this would be a lot easier to shoot in a doughboy in someone's backyard. And you just
a doughboy being, of course, a
wading pool.
Yes. Yeah. Can you tell anything from, you did one movie that people didn't flock to, 1941 was the name of the movie, I mean, not when you made it.
They flocked in Europe.
They
flocked to it in Europe.
It
does, but they didn't speak English, and the film was in English, so I'm not quite sure what they were flocking for, but they flocked to the movie in Europe. Matter of fact, it made most of its money back overseas.
How do you explain that? I like the posters for it. I like the...
Explain why they flocked to Europe or why it flopped in this country.
Why in this country? Well, I wasn't going to use such a harsh word as flop.
It's my movie. I can say anything I want.
Why was it such a turkey in this country?
Thank you very much.
That's a lot nicer.
I wouldn't have used that word. Well, it essentially, I can't, it's real hard to analyze what went wrong with the picture, except the story didn't work and none of the characters were likable and there was nothing to identify with, and
Little things like that.
It was too long. But aside from that, I'm very proud of a lot of the movie. I'm very proud of the dance sequence, which is like right in the middle of the film. And I was so happy with the dance sequence when it was over that I was really angry with myself for not making the entire film a musical. I think it would have taken the onus off of. There was an essential meanness about the movie that I think people resented, plus the fact that the film was sold as a spectacular when it was really a spectacle. And it was sold as a comedy along the lines of Airplane when it really wasn't that much of a comedy, nor was it ever intended to be.
Well, that could be fatal if
there was a real...
People weren't expecting to laugh more than they get to.
Exactly, and they wanted to laugh every 30 seconds, and in fact they got to laugh every 10 or 15 minutes.
And then they wonder if they're supposed to be laughing at what's there or not getting it.
And they see funny people, but they wonder why they're not being funny, and essentially it wasn't, not all of it was intended to be as funny as people expected.
With Belushi, you mean, for example?
Well, Belushi's that was pretty funny. I mean, I laugh about that when I see it now, on my little cassette at home. But there were other stories. There were too many stories and too many subplots and too many characters, and I think Pauline Kael said it best. She said the film reminded her of having her head in a slot machine for 2 hours. You know? I mean, it's just a wonderful way of putting it. It was a pinball machine, having her head in a pinball machine.
Oh, I like the other one, too. Well, those both good images. I wonder how she knows what that feels like. I have to find out. What do you feel about stunt people? I don't know how often I've confessed publicly that one of the professions I'm sorry I didn't go into among 2 or 3 is being a stuntman. I always wanted to be one. As a kid, I practiced falling out of trees, off garages. Jim McConnell and I used to ride our bikes up ramps and crash them into cardboard boxes, and or borrowed bikes if we could get them. Now, how do you, as we sit here now, which is what, June? Yeah. When you're on tape, you're not in the same month. A lady is suing some movie company for millions for not taking enough precaution in a stunt she was in. A water stunt, I believe. It was annoying the way it was reported on the show, news show I saw, because they didn't tell, what the stunt was. But how do you cover those people? They are taking a chance.
Every movie has a stunt gaffer, a stunt wrangler. You know, we had every film also has fly wranglers and ant wranglers and snake wranglers. We talked about that before from Raiders. But one of the most important, functions on a film, especially the size of Raiders, is to have a stunt coordinator. And Glenn Randall was a stunt coordinator on Raiders of the Lost Ark, and his responsibility was to keep everybody safe through a stunt and create an illusion more than an actual fall or an actual drag behind the truck. And in fact, people were being dragged behind trucks and under trucks and falling out of windows and going through windows, and it was filled with close calls. But at the same time, safety is first. Everything is choreographed to the point that I'm pulling my hair out saying we've got to go, we're behind schedule, where you can't rush the stunt people because they will move slower. The faster you push them, the slower they'll go, because their closest friends, their drinking buddies, the guys that go off and do the Miller's commercials when they're through making movies, are the same people who put their lives on the line. And it really is a life situation, life and death situation.
Do you know situations, obviously without naming names and so on, where the stuntmen have been unnecessarily endangered and in fact maimed and killed? I know one lost both legs. Is it Yvonne DiCarlo's husband?
I'm not sure. In the helicopter accident, you mean?
This was 2 trains.
There was a famous helicopter accident where there was actually it wasn't a stuntman, he was a cameraman with a special Tyler mount out to the back of a Jet Ranger, the side of a Jet Ranger, and he went too low to another helicopter below him and he lost his legs. And that same man on the making of Catch-22, which sounds really kind of strange, but he was killed in a fall, in a mishap on a B-17, or B-25, I mean, during the shooting in Mexico. I mean, it's not just stuntmen, it's really the tragedy last week where we lost Boris Segal, a very, very excellent and wonderful director and human being who walked into the back rotor blade of a propeller.
Propeller?
Yeah, he's the man who directed Masada for television.
That's right, the man who directed that Masada was killed that day.
And so, I mean, the hazards making movies are surrounded. There's something that happens when you're making a film, especially with directors and cameramen, and that is when your eye is through the camera, you are taken away to a Never Never Land, a kind of reality Oz. And you suddenly, with the eye glued to the camera, nothing can happen to you. You could be on the edge of a train looking through a viewfinder, heading towards a tunnel with no clearance, and as far as you're concerned, it's only a movie until everything goes black and then white.
It looks like a movie in there. When you
Yeah,
look through it.
and I think it's almost the sirens that are calling you, and it's a danger. You have to always be aware that once your eye's in the camera, there are dangers all around.
Do you worry about that? Things like how you look, and are you conscious of that when you're on television, whether your hands would be made after?
Well, I'm not on
usually?
television enough for
I
it
see.
to have worked itself up to a phobia, because the few times I've been on, I got out of town soon enough so I didn't see it on the box.
Is that so?
And that makes it possible for me to be here tonight.
That's very nice. You know, you have me scared a bit.
Not as scared as I am.
Mr. Welles called on the phone the other day, and you know that feeling that you get that it couldn't really be true, and I didn't believe that it was you on the phone for a while, and I realized that it was, and I...
There it is, yeah.
Yeah, and here, and one of us must be actually here at this moment.
We were talking about reality, or you were, and what it looks like, and that's the spooky thing about television, is that it is real. We're just sitting here, and that isn't like show business, is it?
No. It's supposed to be up and doing
It's
things.
something doing, sir. Let Jack do something.
No, like Lee.
You know, if you were to ask, I think, the average person, where is Orson Welles' hometown, I have a feeling that you would get a guess that would go all over the globe, probably starting with Budapest or something.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's Kenosha, Wisconsin, is one of the most startling... That's the truth, isn't it?
That's right. I was born in Kenosha.
Do you ever go back to Kenosha?
I left when I was 3 weeks old. So my memories are limited.
Mm-hmm.
I've been back to Wisconsin a lot, and I've lived in Wisconsin, but I never made it to Kenosha.
3 weeks old?
Yeah, and I've got people who remember going to school with me there, you know. I've never been.
What, at 3 weeks, that's amazing.
Yeah, maybe 5, I don't know.
Did anyone try to talk you out of leaving at that age? Can you remember early memories way back before you could speak?
Yes, but I'm not sure it's true. Mm-hmm. Do you have memories that you think are real, and I'm not sure whether I saw it on, on television?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm one of the younger fellows. I remember television very well. It's the kind of thing that I have pictures of. I don't remember the dialogue. It's sort of silent movies more than of a grandmother that was dead when I was 4, things like that. But nothing very fascinating. I'd better go and make up my hands.
No, please. Made me feel a lot better. Are there any legends about you that you would like to scotch right now, like the fact that you, at the age of 4 months or something, wrote a thesis on Nietzsche's philosophy, or, there are all these incredible things like that.
Yeah. Pack of lies.
Pack of lies?
Pack of lies.
No kidding.
Yeah. I was a rather backward student.
And I read also about you that you were supposed to go to Harvard. Mr. Lemon did go to Harvard.
That's true. I had a scholarship to go to Harvard. Hollywood is what I wanted to say. What I wanted to go to was Hollywood. What I had the scholarship for was Harvard. And I did everything I could think of not to go, including show business. The only reason I'm in show business was to keep out of school.
You're getting ready to go to Harvard.
Yeah.
Through all this, are you?
And I just didn't want to go, not because I have anything against Harvard, but I never know the answers to anything, as you found out.
We were talking upstairs. I would like to ask you one thing, though, that may be a kind of question that's a little annoying, but if someone were to give you, say, $10 million tax-free now to do whatever you... I'm considering it. What would you do with it?
Well, since we're on the full network, give it away. But I'll tell you afterwards,
I guess what I'm angling for would be, would you make a movie? Would you produce plays?
I think really anybody is suddenly given an awful lot of money until it happens. Mm-hmm. You think you're going to go out in the street and hand it out to everybody. I'm sure I don't have enough class to do that. But until they show me that green stuff, the instinct would be, some kind of giving it away with all the misery there is. But of course, the minute you've got it, you turn into somebody else,
A monster.
Yeah, that's a monster.
Your dad was an inventor.
Yes.
What did he invent? Anything we would know of?
He invented a great many things, none of which worked. Some of them were very successful. He invented something called the picnic, which was a square box into which everything fitted for your outing under the trees. Which included a salt cellar which collapsed. That meant there couldn't be any salt in it. Things like that.
Yeah.
And the war came along, the First World War, and every American soldier had to have it in a knapsack. So, of course, my father was fabulously rich on the picnic. This useless box of toys went over there with all our boys. And then he invented one of the early airplanes. He was an automobile manufacturer. He'd raced some of the early automobiles. And in fact, a picture I made, Ambersons, is partly based on him, not by me, but by Tarkington, who wrote the book, who was a friend of my father's. And my father was a kind of mad playboy. He was well along when I was born. He was in his late 60s when I was born, so we went back to older and happier times. And when the Wright brothers came up with this thing, he said that that was a very good idea, but there was a basic fallacy, which was having the engine in the plane. Any fool could see that the airplane should be light enough and the engine should be on the ground, you see. So he built an airplane which was in effect a sort of glider. And a friend of his, it wasn't his own car, had a Stanley steamer, which was the automobile worked by steam, you know, and with big wheels that could go over rough ground. And this plane was hauled along by the Stanley steamer with one of my father's servants as the pilot. He said it wasn't time yet for him to go up. He was going to try it out on the help. So there are two pictures I have. One is everybody lined up before in front of the Stanley steamer and the glider, looking very happy. And the second one is the wreck of the airplane with everybody lined up looking just as happy.
That airplane is now known as the Super Chief on the Long Island Railroad.
But he liked to call himself an inventor because what he was, he came from an epoch in which you should pretend to be a great tycoon. You mustn't say you're a playboy. He was just a playboy. He inherited some money and he spent it. That was what he did. So he put down, I'm an inventor, so it would be respectable. And these fantasies came up through the years. He was also a very lucky gambler. He really broke the bank at Monte Carlo. And he lost money all the time in business and made it up gambling, which is an interesting switch.
Yes, it is.
And in fact, it was in Kenosha where he was manufacturing some mysterious object that I happened to come into the world.
Does this medium intrigue you, television? Would you like to?
Oh, yes.
Does it?
Well, I expected, you know, I'd done an awful lot of radio and theater and movies and everything, so when the television scene began, I said, just wait, you know. And I stayed near the telephone. But for 15 years, it didn't ring, so, from Madison Avenue. So it's just now I've started into it. They're giving me a special on CBS. Mike Dan has given me you know, the kind of contract for a television that I only had once in movies, but it took an awful long time for the phone to ring. But it intrigues me. I think it's just the great, great medium, but it also mystifies me. Doesn't it you?
Yes, yes, often.
Even though you're a master of it, don't you really think there's something we haven't figured out yet?
What?
Well, you are.
Where would a person reach you, though? How would they know where your telephone is? I think of you as a citizen of the globe. You're photographed one day in Spain and another day you're in Luxembourg.
Process. Back projection.
You're really, that's a little
I'm
inside.
really in Kenosha all the time.
All the time you're in Wisconsin. How would a person get a letter to Orson Welles is something that once intrigued me for a long time. And I often wonder, I really do, I think about you a great deal, and I often wonder what you're doing after I wake up, and I wonder what Orson Welles is doing today. Does this...
Well, he's watching you if he's anywhere in America. How about that?
Wait a
You're not very big in Budapest, Jim.
Oh,
But that's coming.
I see. You know, a lot of, well, I guess all the young people in this country, you sometimes get the feeling, are film happy. Someone once said about this generation, they would rather make film than make love. And of course, you are one of their great heroes.
The thing is, there doesn't seem to be anybody who wants to go to movies anymore. Just make them. In the young generation, isn't that true?
It is. You know, can I interrupt for just
Yeah,
10 seconds?
please do.
But at any rate, no, Orson, I assume maybe you heard this or maybe you didn't, but I know it is a fact that Catch-22 was recently sneak previewed in Boston.
Yeah.
And when Orson said all of the young kids really want to make films and so forth, only 50 students were told that it was Catch-22, and by the time 8 o'clock in the evening came along, there was such a mob they had to run it twice, back to back. 90% of the audience were young, bright college students.
Really? That's good news.
No, when your name came on the screen, there was a standing ovation. The biggest of all, including the director and the rest of the cast and everything. But when the name Orson Welles came on from this young generation, the whole place fell apart. I don't know whether you had heard that.
Didn't
but
know
it's
that.
true,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't that wonderful news?
All of this gives me faith, you see, that our industry will
The point
eventually
is, that
be
was
all
in
right.
Boston. And that's a new generation, because I used to open shows there, and that was a different generation that I opened to, believe me.
You had trouble in
Oh,
Boston?
in Boston. The worst thing that ever happened to me, can I tell this?
Of course, you're not here every night.
Even with the white hands?
Oh, please,
All right.
please.
This was for a show I did with the Theater Guild and the Mercury together, which is called Five Kings, which is an adaptation of several of the Shakespearean histories. And we had the big scene where Henry V says, "Cry God for Harry, England and St. George." And I had a tremendous stage set with 50 extras, all with bows and arrows. And when he says that, we shot off a cannon, and they all shot the real arrows across the stage. And that was the end of that scene. Big effect. Opening night in Boston, we had a revolving stage, which slowly started to turn around. So that they all, now this is all Harvard boys, all your men, dressed as archers, and they're all facing front. I wasn't in the scene. I was standing in the wings, and I thought to myself, they're Harvard men. They know better than to shoot into the audience. They're not going to do that, you know. And he says, "Cry God for Harry, England and St. George," and all 50 of them, right out into the audience. We didn't miss a critic.
Will you welcome, please, Spike Lee? We could get one thing out of the way early on. By the way, you really, here we are in December, and you're still celebrating the Mets.
Yeah, I went to the 6th game.
Thanks to, I'll never forget that game. It seems so long ago now. We shouldn't kid the home audience. By the miracle of tape, we're a little out of sequence here. And as I sit here now, you can still smell champagne. Two of the guys were in here
I heard.
earlier, and but now it's December. Or 6 years from now, depending on your aerial, I suppose. The Black Woody Allen is something I will not call you. I think you'll be relieved to know that. But
Thank you.
It's a phrase that comes up in everything I've read about you. Where in hell did they get that idea? Aside from the obvious fact that you both have red hair and are Jewish and wear glasses.
And we're from Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn,
It
yeah.
started in Cannes this past May. The film was in the Cannes Film Festival. And the French critics started.
Oh, well, no wonder. The French.
But it's been picked up here.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's see, because your film is in black and white and you do wear glasses, I suppose did they see any other similarities that I'm missing?
I don't see him.
So we can let that go.
Could let it rest.
Are you in any way at a dangerous point in your career now? You've done a film that no one who couldn't sell, as they say, refrigerators to Eskimos could have sold them from what it sounded like you were going to do. But somehow you did it. People are paying good money to see it now. You're in danger of being driven around now in limousines and taken to lunch. You know what I mean? Is this a dangerous point for you as an artiste?
It could be. I won't let it become that.
Yeah. How do you protect yourself?
Well, I do it because I know what I want to do. I want to be a filmmaker. I want to make films. I don't make films. I didn't do it because become famous or to meet gorgeous women or to make tons and tons of money.
Yeah.
And since I know what my priorities are, all the other stuff doesn't matter. So I'm just going to continue making films.
Are people surprised to find you to be serious? Do you know what I mean by that? 'Cause
Exactly.
you're hilarious
People-
in the movie,
'cause
and when you
people
say,
never
please,
met-
baby, please, baby, 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 please.
People have never met me. They expect me to be Mars Blackman, and they're
Yeah.
like really disappointed.
Incidentally,
not.
the rhythm of that is from some deep da da deep da da deep da da dee 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 dum, right? What was
I don't know.
Yeah.
That really is improvisation. That was.
Was it? Yeah.
Right.
It is a funny film, and it grows on you. At first, I didn't know quite what to make of it, because I saw it without any knowledge, which is the best way to see a movie. What is it that annoys you and others I've spoken to about, what's the name of that film, Soul Man?
Oh.
Am I getting into a can of worms or peas? I really want to know.
Okay, for people who don't know about Soul Man, the premise is that you have this rich kid whose father's a millionaire and refuses to pay his way through Harvard Law School. And there's a black scholarship. So the only way he can get into Harvard Law School is to take a pill that's a suntan pill and put on an afro wig, and he gets admitted as a black student.
Passes himself off as a minority.
And it looks phony. There's no way in the world to see how Thomas looks black. And to me, it's really an attack on affirmative action. And when I was out in L.A. promoting the film, I said that Ray Don Chung's card from the Sisterhood should be revoked. And the producer, Stephen Tisch, called me up and started getting nasty about it, saying, had I seen the film? I said, no, I didn't have to see it. I mean, that's the premise of the film. And to me, I don't see why Ray did. I was really surprised that James Earl Jones was a part of that. That was really surprising.
But you haven't seen it?
I'm not going to see it either.
Wasn't that like the people who condemn Tom
But
Sawyer for
no,
not
not
having
really,
read
because
it?
I've seen clips
of
of the film, and if the whole premise is that he's passing as black, and it's so phony, that means all the black people in the movie are idiots to think that this guy, they could believe that he's black.
Yeah. Maybe they cast idiot black people. I'm trying to be nice. I do see the problem. Now, are you saying that nobody could make a film in which a black man? What I really want to know is, are you bothered by the premise, or is it that it's executed badly?
I think it's a combination of both. They're trying to pass off as attack on racism. I really don't see it like that, and it's not funny to me.
A black man did pass as black. I mean, a white man in real life in Black Like Me, in that film. Apparently worked.
What year was this, though? I mean, I think it's time to move on,
Yeah.
Forward, progress.
I'm interested in this. Could no white actor play black? Whoopi Goldberg claims she could play white convincingly.
Yeah, I believe it.
And I think... Is this delicate territory I'm in? I mean...
Let's talk about She's Gotta Have It, Dick.
To do what?
Let's talk about She's Gotta Have It.
Oh, your movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's do... You really made the movie not exactly on a shoestring, but close. What does a shoestring cost these days? You did it for what?
$175,000.
Yeah. Which I suppose sounds like a lot of money until you see what a lot of things...
It's a lot of money unless you're talking about doing a film in that type of budget.
Yeah. Did you have enough to finish, obviously, on that kind of money?
We never had all that money at one time. It came in nickels and dimes, and it wasn't until I signed a deal with Island Pictures, I got my first check for the advance, I was able to pay off all of the bills and debts that we amassed over the production of the film.
There are good compliments and bad ones. What do you like to hear people say when they come out of the film? I guess what I'm indirectly asking you is this film supposed to mean something or be just an entertainment? I
try to get a combination of both, try to have some kind of definite. And plus, if I can put some humor in it. No matter what type of genre of film I'm going to do, I'm always going to have some humor in it. I don't think that she's got to have it as an out-and-out comedy, but there are funny moments in it. So I think it's a combination of the both. But I think that people like the film. I've seen the film with audiences all across the country, and it really hasn't varied from place to place, you know, where people laugh. They're all laughing at the same spots.
I read somewhere that you got mail from women who liked some things and not others. And one of the things they didn't like, correct me if I'm wrong, was that the central character at very early on, the lady, has
Lola Darling.
a lesbian lady whose last name is
Gilstrap.
Gilstrap.
Opal Gilstrap.
Yeah. I figured that name must be an anagram for something.
Not really. I mean, what
Strip
happened is that...
gal.
Now,
Strip
what happens is
gal.
that a lot of the women were disappointed that Nola didn't make love with.
Yeah, that's the interesting. Why were they disappointed that she didn't succumb to the lesbian advances of the other character? How would it have been better if she had? That's what their point was.
I think it would have been too much, 3 men and a woman in this film. And the people I've told them, I said, you know, that's your movie, but it wasn't this one.
I guess maybe the reason go make their own film. Maybe the reason this whole question obsesses me is I always get annoyed when people say there have to be role models. I mean, no good art ever comes out of anybody setting out to make role models, or roles, yes, but role models, no. Now, these same people who have been bad-mouthing Color Purple, some of them black and others not, could easily say about your film, well, you're showing black women as women who just go to bed with men and think of nothing else. Does that kind of thing mean anything to you? Or can you just
It
have to put
means
all that out of
something
your mind?
because as an artist, you're walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said a couple things about The Color Purple that could be turned right back on me with this film, but I think that if you're honest and you know what you want to do, you just have to do it, and if people don't like it, I mean, what can you say?
You move on. You said, I don't want to be stuck a few years from now as a guest star on The Love Boat, or what was that quote of?
I was talking about how quick, you know, people could come and go.
Yeah.
I said I intend to be making films for a lot, you know, further down the line. I don't want to be on, a guest host on The Love Boat or Hollywood Squares next year.
That would be the trap that you fall into.
Right.
You did a movie that would have seemed impossible because some of the actors had to be birds. In fact, a great deal of them. I often wonder if you had to spread newspapers everywhere in the making of that film. I mean, it seems like such an enormous problem to take on, to do a film where you needed birds.
Rather, yes.
Did you ever think you should turn back, that it was going to be too hard?
No, because I purposely didn't advise the technical department what would be necessary. Otherwise, they would have said impossible. But I think about 3,200 birds were trained, and the ravens were the cleverest.
They're very smart birds.
Very smart birds indeed.
What was the hardest thing to get the birds to do in that film?
I don't think anything was really very difficult. You know, the seagulls were the most vicious.
Were they?
And
To work with?
yes, the hardest thing was to try and persuade them not to be so vicious.
What psychology do you use on a seagull?
Birdseed.
Okay. And there was the one scene where the bird swooped down and took a piece of a forehead out of
Out of the girl?
out of one of your actresses.
Well,
yes.
if I can give away a trade secret,
Please do.
that's what we call a double printing job. The girl was sat in a boat with a tube of compressed air run up her back into her hair, and at a crucial point, a jet of air was blown which blew her hair up. Then on a separate film, we took a picture of a gull sweeping down, and then the two were put together, and it swooped down at that crucial point.
It's fun to know how those things work. It's amazing that
Yes.
you've accomplished. I hope we can get talks about more of them during the evening. Hitchcock, let me ask you a bit about your thoughts on violence on the screen and all that. It's interesting because that clip we showed from Psycho was from a film that was edited quite a bit when it was shown on primetime television. Some of the scenes were considered too, some moments of scenes were considered too awful to show.
In those days.
How do you feel about that?
Well, there's more permissiveness today, but don't forget that's 10 years ago. Things were quite different then.
You think if they showed Psycho now, they would be able to show every scene that you shot?
Oh, I think so, without a question, sure.
Really? I doubt that, because they were rather worried that we were showing anything tonight from that.
Well, there's a different approach for television than there is for movies.
Oh yes, I meant on television. That on television.
No. Television, the same conditions apply today.
Still, yeah, I see. I didn't make that.
But I'm surprised, really, that in English television, when I was over there, they allow a certain amount of nudity on English television.
Complete nudity on English television.
Yes, considering the weather over there, I'm surprised.
They must heat the studio somewhere, because I know what you mean about it. But
Somebody
it's
asked
true
me the other day, how long did I think nudity would last on the screen? And if you wouldn't think me too vulgar in saying, I said that all breasts sag eventually.
You have research to prove that?
No, I'm afraid I don't. No.
In that scene from Psycho, you had a curious effect that it seemed that Balsam seemed to be almost floating backwards, which added to the horror of it a bit. It was like a dream. He seemed to be almost in slow motion a bit as he fell backwards. And I realized the second time I saw it that was where part of the fright came from.
Well, the point is that if a person falls, they are fighting the fall. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't just drop back. You know, if you're falling back, there's an effort to prevent it. And I think you get that effect there.
But didn't you do something special in the shooting of that, or did you have him suspended?
Oh, well, it was a double printed thing.
It was.
He didn't fall down a single stair. He sat in a very comfortable chair and just lay there like that.
Is that right?
Yes, we made the background first of moving down.
I'd love to know how you have done all of those things. Well, a lot of the answers are in the
actors
Truffaut.
earn their money, you see.
Yeah.
By not having to do the things they're supposed to do.
You called actors cattle once in your career and offended a few of them.
Well, I think at the time, I said, I was accused of calling actors cattle, and I said that I would never say such an unfeeling, rude thing about actors at all. What I probably said was that all actors should be treated like cattle.
I see. And you went on to do that.
In a nice way, of course.
Yes. Fed them at the right hours and brushed them occasionally. Well, do you? I know you. One actress got you for that somehow. She once had some cattle brought onto a set or something.
That was the famous Carol Lombard.
Carol Lombard,
yes.
Yeah.
And she was a woman with a great sense of humor. And I arrived on the set the first day of shooting, and she'd had a corral built, and in it were 3 live calves with the names of the actors on big discs round their necks.
You know, it is, in finding out some of the things that you've done, reading about them and all, it's amazing how much is the director's work and how little the actors are needed. And in a way, there's a devastating example you gave from a Russian filmmaker, Pudovkin. It had to do with the actor's face and then the...
Well, if I may interrupt you a moment, Walt Disney had the right idea. If he didn't like the actors, he tore them up.
But you talked about the Russian filmmaker.
The power of film. That's how strong film can be.
Yeah.
Well, I did the production section for Encyclopedia Britannica for the last edition. And in it, I describe a scene such as in the picture Rear Window, where you have James Stewart, a close-up of him, and he looks, you see, and you cut, we'll say, for example, a woman nursing a baby. Now you go back to Mr. Stewart, and he smiles. So what have you demonstrated? That he's a nice, benevolent gentleman. Now take the middle piece of film away. He looks, he sees. Now cut to a girl in a bikini. and he smiles. Now he's a dirty old man.
And it's the exact same smile.
Exact same smile, the same look. The subject is changed.
And you said that there's even a more dramatic example. That was the Russian filmmaker who showed an actor's face and then a dead baby, and then the actor's face,
yes,
and then a bowl of soup, and then the actor's face. And in each case, it was the same shot of the actor's face, but in the one seemed to be sorrow, and the other seemed to be hunger.
Hunger, that's quite true, yes, yes.
So you could get an Academy Award performance for an actor with only one shot of him, really.
Well, I did it years ago with an actress, and I found her very difficult. And I did all her close-ups and said, look here, look there, look down, look across, move around.
And go home.
And then you may go home. And I brought in another actress, and I used all her hands, and she was cutting meat, and it was the prelude to a murder scene.
And you just put everything around it?
I used the hands only, yes.
Gee. Is there a scene you wouldn't do over again? Are you sorry you did some? I'm thinking of one specifically, of the boy with the bomb.
Well, that was because I made the terrible mistake of having a boy carry a bomb across the city. Mm-hmm. You, the audience, knew that it was a bomb. And I built it up and up until the various clocks and all the hold-ups. And you knew it was going to go off at 1 o'clock, but I let the clocks go 1 minute past 1, 2 minutes, and worked the audience up. And then I let the bomb go off. And he was on a bus, and it blew the whole thing completely. And I remember I was at the press show, and a woman critic came up with both raised fists and said, how dare you do a thing like that? Even a hard-boiled critic was taken away with the whole thing. I'd made the mistake in not relieving them at the end of the suspense. In other words, if you put an audience through the mill like that, you must relieve it. The bomb must be found and quickly thrown out of the window. Then it goes off out there, and the audience are relieved.
And if you had it to do over again?
I'd never let the bomb go off.
What would you do with the rest of the movie?
Well, I mean, that wouldn't be the last scene in the movie.
No, that's true. But was it because was it also because a child was killed in the scene that they thought it was too brutal?
No, I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason is that an audience gets worked up.
Yeah.
And they need relief. For example, if anybody goes on a roller coaster, they scream, it goes down the big dip and up and around, they're screaming all the time, but always get off giggling.
Yeah.
Or you go to the midway and you pay money to go into the haunted house, and skeletons jump up and the floor does all kinds of things, but they always come out giggling. Now the question, why do people pay money to be scared?
Do you know the answer?
Of course not. I earn my living doing it.
Better not to question it.
What would my starving wife and child do without us?
Or your starving self, for that
Yes,
matter.
that's right.
By the way, I should explain, there's always somebody who misunderstands. A child was not killed in the making of the movie. It was in the scene itself, supposedly. Someone always writes it and it's misunderstood. Your face is not as well known as the other Muppets, but certainly it's certainly in a class with theirs. I mean, it's equally appealing. That's a compliment.
I know what you mean by that.
That's
Okay.
a compliment. We have a piece of tape of a number that you did, and should you explain it for us?
Okay. Yeah, well, Kermit, the very old one, the thing that we just did, is the very old Kermit. And since then, Kermit has evolved, and he's changed around a lot. We did, this is the way Kermit looks nowadays.
Aha, there's Kermit.
Hello there. Yeah.
Hi, Kermit.
And, yeah, well, how do you do? It's nice to be here, And hello out there in TV land. And but his whole body has changed a great deal since the early one.
Why did it change? Is it a matter of diet, or what is it?
Yeah, well, it's not really diet, no. It's a matter of progressing, in the direction of better-looking frogs, I suppose. Something like that.
Hard to tell where Kermit leaves off and you begin.
Yes, I've noticed that too. you, thank you. Yeah, it's nothing. One of my better musical numbers here, you know.
What are the problems you run into in a frog production number like that?
Well, we did a number.
I asked him, but you can answer.
Who would you like to talk to?
You tell me.
We did a lot of the show with marionettes and hand puppets. And we do kind of both kinds of puppets.
Marionettes is anything that's controlled from above?
Yeah, the string
Is it?
kind. The
Yeah.
string kind are called marionettes. And a puppet actually is any kind. You know, you can call this kind of puppet or a string puppet or a rod puppet.
Yeah.
And we do sort of a variety of all the different techniques, you know. But when we were doing frog prints, we would use the hand puppets whenever we were shooting close. And then when we'd go for wide shots, we'd work it, you know, with marionettes from a bridge up above. A bridge is a thing you stand on.
Because for the long shots, you couldn't conceal the men who...
Yeah.
We don't want to give away all of the magic.
We
You know,
don't-
no matter how much you know about how this works, the minute you see them again, they're completely convincing. It's
Sometimes.
amazing. During rehearsal, it was hilarious here because Bert and Ernie were rehearsing, and then the director would say, "Can you hold on a minute? We got to set a light." And Bert would say, "What?" You know, "I can't hear you," and it was really great. You're in the numbers racket. We all know about that. Do you want to explain that?
Well, we have another piece. I don't know. No, I don't.
Oh, you don't
What
want
do
to
you mean by
explain
that?
that now.
Numbers
I
thing.
thought we had a numbers bit we were going to do.
Oh,
Maybe we shouldn't do it
no.
in this segment because
No,
we may
we have
run
another
out of
thing
time.
first.
Oh,
We're
good.
gonna do
Okay.
that
I can
later.
wait. I can always wait.
We have another musical number that we did on the frog prints.
Wouldn't want to offend all those frogs who were all rehearsed and everything.
No. This is we had an ogre in the show, and he went around trying to eat the frogs. That was part of the bit.
There's
And,
always somebody like that.
Right, and so. Yeah, frogs' legs and all that stuff. I know. I've seen you guys. Yeah.
Forgot you were in.
You ever tried puppetry?
I never have. No, I
Are you interested in
wondered
it?
about it. Yeah.
you like to?
Sure. Can I? You mean I can put my
Sure. Why not?
hand in there?
Right hand.
How far?
Sort of all the way up. And you
Oh,
just
it's
like
where? Yeah. How do you make the?
Put your thumb in
Yeah.
the lower jaw.
It's all right. It's all right.
You're
Nice
very-
boy.
Nice boy.
That's all I know.
You have to open the mouth when he talks. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
It's funny. The natural thing that people usually do is say
You
hello.
should've.
Hello.
Instead of hello.
Hello.
So, yeah, the instinct is wrong.
Right.
Gee. Who else have we got?
Well, we brought along other characters. Would you like to see?
Do you mind resting for a moment?
Here's
Right there.
a character called Lothar, one of our bigger, shaggy guys.
Lothar's embarrassed at seeing me do this.
No, it's all right. I don't mind a bit.
I got my clothes in my mouth.
Yeah, that's.
Clothes out of my mouth. That's what I can do.
That's all right. And, yes, I came with some of my Frackle friends. See Frackles back there.
What are freckles, Lothar? What?
Those are
Are you-
Frackles back there. One on
Where do
your...
you find? What are freckles native to? What?
All of these
Do they
are-
bite?
Sometimes he does a lot of sniffing. He doesn't particularly bite. But these are characters that we did in a Christmas special.
Yeah.
That we did, and it's going to be on the air again this year with on the Ed Sullivan.
Freckles are very
series of
jumpy,
specials.
aren't they?
Yeah, these
Yeah.
were a bunch of evil characters, and actually Thog was one of the Frackles too. He was a very large Frackle.
Oh, it's
They
time-
come in all sizes, you know. They,
Thog is actually a freckle.
yes, he's actually a very large Frackle.
I get all emotional when I introduce my next guest because he's one of the best people I've ever had on the show. One of the best guests, I ought to say. And he's known probably to most of you as the Cookie Monster, or to his very close friends, he's known as Cookie. But you don't want to get that intimate with...
I'm Mr. Cavett.
How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I haven't seen you in a long time.
Oh, yeah, so long. You know why I like to come back here?
No, why is that?
Because you got cookie for me. You got chocolate chip cookie, right?
You know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Give me cookie,
I
give me
have to
cookie.
explain something.
What?
We forgot, I don't know how we did it, but it slipped our minds completely to get you anything for this visit. And I just, a guy went out and then he never came back and we don't have anything, any cookies. If you...
You no got cookie for me?
No, but I'm sure you can wait till maybe after the show or something like that.
Does bearded man have cookie for me?
No, the bearded man, I don't think he has.
Nobody got cookie. You sure? Look in your pockets. You got macaroon?
No, I.
How about the pineapple surprise cookie?
No, I
How
don't.
about some water chestnut? Anything?
After the show, if you'll meet me after the show, I.
Wait. Anybody else? How about Orson Welles like me? Maybe he got cookies. Yeah. He ate a lot. Maybe got leftovers.
When Orson Welles was here, when he was on the show, he said that this was one of the best, probably his favorite guest. I'm sorry, I hit you right on the nose.
That's okay. It almost tasted good.
No, please.
Oh, I'm so hungry.
You wouldn't
I'm
do
so
a thing.
hungry.
Can I see what your head feels like?
Yeah.
Oh, it's very nice.
Can I see what your head feel like?
If you insist.
The hair's delicious.
No, please.
Oh no, I'm so hungry.
Don't you ever eat anything but cookies?
Wait, what that over there?
That's the microphone.
Microphone?
Yeah, you're not
bring
that
microphone
hungry.
Down.
Can you bring
Bring
the
down
microphone?
microphone.
What are you
Come
doing?
on, come
you're
with the
not
microphone.
serious.
Come with the microphone. Boy. Oh boy, oh boy, boy.
Yeah.
Want some?
That's no. Earlier. Thank you.
Oh, delicious.
You're unbelievable.
You know, microphones on Carson's show. Blah. Bye-bye. I should have known better than to not have cookies. I feel awful about that. You know what a microphone is worth?
It's funny. We started off on Sesame Street. He used to eat all kinds of things, and then we gradually narrowed it down to cookies.
Just cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he used to eat almost everything.
He's really addicted to cookies now.
Right.
I didn't mean to say one of the world's weirdest men. I meant one of the.
Do you know
most...
they were playing Springtime for Hitler?
Is that what that was? Yeah, that's right.
Thanks a lot, Bobby.
Somehow you just don't resemble him. I don't know what it is, but.
Well, I'm not political anymore. We have a little place in Argentina. We grow coffee, doing our best.
That's so. Say, you're an Oscar winner. We were just discussing the Oscars. I don't know if you were paying attention.
Yes,
back then.
I am an Oscar winner.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to thank...
Are you going to use yours for a doorstop?
Still thinking. Yeah?
My Oscar...
Where is your Oscar?
My Oscar. My Oscar's living in Detroit now. Well,
Lord Alfred Douglas. Sorry.
My Oscar is on my mother's credenza in Brooklyn.
Oh, no.
It sits there with my Emmy and my
Really?
mammy.
I thought your mother was in Miami.
Everybody in the building comes in and to see. It looks very good tonight.
Is she proud of it? Does your mother know what you do?
All mothers are proud of everything. What do they know? What can I tell you?
I can picture her saying, "Look what my son, who should have been a doctor, won." I think that's probably her attitude.
She never really wanted me to go into show business because she didn't want me to expose myself to the world as an idiot, and she thought it was unseemly and undignified, and those are her own words. It's very unseemly and undignified. Just that way, she said.
She colors it a little differently when she
She
speaks.
preferred that I would try something else, a doctor, a lawyer. But I persisted, and I have brought glory to her apartment in Brooklyn. Cake and coffee is served at 11 o'clock every night. They come in and look at the Oscar.
Gee.
Your son, the tall one. Believe it or not, I have brothers and a mother. Everybody in my family is about 4'3", 4'4".
Kidding.
I am called Stretch at home.
You're
Very short people.
your wife, Anne Bancroft.
Baxter.
Did you ever make that mistake? That would be unfortunate.
No, I never have.
wouldn't think so.
No, somehow.
Where does she keep hers? Her Oscars. Wait a minute. What's she won?
She's won an Oscar, 2 3 British Academy Awards, the Cannes Film Festival, Tony 2. She's won a couple of awards.
Yeah.
Also on her mother's TV set in Yonkers.
Oscars go to mothers.
Oscars go to mothers. That's the title of my next musical, Oscars go to mothers. Oscars go to mothers. Yes.
Yes. You can take anything and turn it into art.
I
It's
sure
amazing.
can destroy any... Bobby, are you going to catch everything?
You're up
tonight. Okay. Two Jews got off an Arab. There you go.
Mel used to be a. I think we should explain that to Iowa. Mel used to be a comic for a time in what we call the mountains, I guess. Or when you actually went that route.
Yes, I used to do a stand-up thing. I learned just how to do it. Mm-hmm. You put your hand here and you say, "Good evening, ladies and germs. Welcome to a bang-up variety show presented by and for the boys here at the Good Luck Inn. We have a swell high club for tonight, loads of talent, lots of the girls will be out in a minute. Girls will be coming out. Wait, give me a break. And I'm going to be your MC. That's short for mental case. I just flew in from Chicago, and boy, are my arms tired."
Did you actually do all this?
I did. Mice or hunchback. I did those jokes.
You didn't even bother to do the first part, right?
I used to say she was so skinny, the waiters would check your umbrella. But I became very, very tired. I worked in the mountains, and I really got sick, filled with despair. Each night, every night, another string of dopey jokes, another dopey crowd eating sponge cake and drinking schnapps in the back.
Must have been
And so
awful.
I decided that I would pioneer and I would do intelligent material. So one night I went out, I said, "Ladies and gentlemen," I decided to do something a little freaky. I said, "Ladies and gentlemen, man of 1,000 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, they waited for 1,000 faces. They waited. They said, "Well, 76. They waited. I did 88.
That takes nerve. I think most people would have dropped off after 350.
The next night, the mice were hunchback. Right?
Right back again. You're up to your ears now
I sure am.
In a film, I mean, in a new movie.
As a matter of fact, sitting in the front row, Alan Heim, my editor, who was denigrated by Rex Reed, all the editors, my film editor, my chef de montage, sitting there with his assistants, Walter Rappaport, Richard Goldberg, sitting there, and his girlfriend, Josie. Sitting.
How do we know you're not making up these names?
No, these are normal Jewish people sitting right there.
They certainly look normal.
Is that true? Alan, is that true that editors don't vote for directors who are working with editors? Just say yes or no. You're not on the show.
Only California.
Only California. See, in New York, this thing doesn't go on.
You notice that the house lights went up for 2 words?
You know, as a matter of fact, Dee Dee Allen works with Arthur Penn, and she's a very, very respected and, highly appreciated film editor.
They all hate her in California.
They hate her in California? Yeah. They're crazy in California.
Because she's from New York?
She's from New York, yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but she's respected. Is it necessary to be respected to be a good film editor?
How so?
Well, you said she's very respected. You mean?
No, I mean she's done, I don't know, Bonnie and Clyde.
I see.
Marvelous
She's
films,
done a lot
and
of good things.
She's held in high esteem.
Have you ever been censored on television? Is there ever anything you've always wanted to say that
I've always wanted to say, right?
Oh yeah. Just thought I'd ask.
Yes.
Your comedy is very clean and.
One time I did. You once asked me a question.
Yes,
and that was censored.
Was it really?
No, maybe there wasn't any time for it. Remember that when I was on Dick's show, the morning show, and he said, "What would you like to say or do that you never have in front of millions of people?"
That's right. You were standing center stage, commanding the audience.
And I said, "Give me a little, Bobby, just a little. No, kind of like glory music, quiet glory. That's it." In 1941, the Japanese had the effrontery to attack our great nation. Tonight, on this stage, we're going to answer that attack. You ready? What are you going to say? That's all I wanted to say.
That was it. Yes.
Now, how we were going to answer it, I didn't know.
No.
I'll tell you the truth.
You really didn't know where you were going.
We didn't have a
just take
big answer
chance
to
like
it.
that?
There was World War II. I mean, that answered some of it. But I thought that we could come up with something to kind of put the question at ease. And we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't. But it was certainly worth the effort, and not a lot of people would have the courage to state a thing like that.
That's quite true. Get to the next question, you're dying.
That's so. Well, I wanted to hear about your film in Yugoslavia. Why did you shoot a film
my film in Yugoslavia?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we did it in Tadeo and Vistavision. We were thinking of doing it in 185 or 166. But somebody said, you better do it with a camera or else nobody's going to see it. So we got a couple of brownies. We did a movie in Yugoslavia, and we lived in Belgrade, the very heartland of Yugoslavia. We lived there for 6 months in Belgrade. The whole city is lit with a 10-watt bulb. I ate nothing but kasha 3 times a day. Those are groats, wheats. It's mush. It's it. That's what it is.
It's a Yugoslavian dish.
We lived there in Yugoslavia, in the mud, in the fields. If you go to Yugoslavia, don't pack a horse and wagon. They have many of them there. Don't have to take that. Everything else, everything possible, take it. Leave a horse and wagon home.
Really, they're short of equipment there. Are they in certain...
We said we're doing a movie. They said, great. Fine, terrific. Just do it anywhere. And I said, what about a camera and lights? And oh, no, we don't. You want a horse and wagon? Give you a horse and wagon.
Kind of limits you, doesn't it?
Yeah. And we had a Yugoslavian sound crew to begin with. And I'd say to them, we'd do a take, and I'd say, have you got it? And they'd say, kak duvajć. I'd say, did you get it? They'd say, haluchit. I'd say, did you get it? Hvala lepo. I said, if they don't understand English, how can they be the sound crew? And the producer said, good question. Good, we'll get an English sound crew. So they flew from England, sound people. We had a Yugoslavian sound crew for about the first month of the picture. Didn't know what we were talking about.
Did you have to scrap a lot of work?
Have you got that, Janos? Halach. Heard a few words. He said it's terrific.
Isn't the plot concerned with Russia, though?
Yes, the plot takes place in Russia, post-revolutionary Russia, 1927, and we're thinking of shooting it in Russia, but then they might start shooting in Russia. So we said we'll get close to Russia. We went to Yugoslavia, Byzantine architecture, beautiful fields, a lot of wagons, horses and wagons.
More wagons.
Actually, I don't want to sound, derogatory, pejorative about Yugoslavia because they are great people. They're marvelous people. Seriously, if the Russians had attacked or, invaded Yugoslavia like they did Czechoslovakia, the Yugoslavians would have fought and died to the last person. They just simply would not have.
That's so.
The Russians have incredible respect and a brushstroke of fear for Yugoslavia. I mean, they're
Was there
really...
any danger of that while you were there? Were you ever nervous?
Yeah, they had a bit of a contretemps. There was a Russian ambassador came over to straighten it out. But we were nervous for a few days. I mean, that there'd be a few bullets whizzing by, but they settled it,
Do you find that action of that kind would upset you? Or you?
Death always makes me nervous. Death, always. A little death, you can't eat rice pudding,
True.
Very bad. Especially in the morning you wake up, you die the rest of the day. You have nothing to do.
No fun anymore.
Finish, right.
Who's in the movie? No.
Ron Moody is starring in it.
Oh.
He was Fagin in Oliver, and I think he's marvelous, but, it's not my place to say. A New York actor by the name of Frank Langella,
Oh, he's
who
wonderful.
has never been in the film.
Yeah.
He did Cry of Players at Lincoln Center with my wife, and I saw him in that production, and I thought he was terrific, and he's terrific in my picture.
He's good. He did something with my wife once.
Would you care to tell us about it on the air? What did he
You're
do?
supposed to get the
Yeah.
laughs here. I shouldn't have said. No, they were in a play together. That's what I mean. Let's quickly move on to the next
right.
thing, shall we? Hey, I know you don't like.
And Dom DeLuise, let's not leave out Dom DeLuise. He's in the movie. He plays a Russian Orthodox priest. He finds out that there are some jewels, and he rips off his cross and his cassock, and he's off. He's a terrible person.
Dom DeLuise is a funny man.
He's really funny.
Hey, when we come back, can I surprise you with something?
I don't know, you want to talk about it first before you do?
Actually, we have something here. Do you mind if does this mean anything to you?
Ah, yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Brooks has invented a character, a wine taster, dear to the hearts of everyone who's ever met him. His name is... What is his name again?
Pierre Latung. Any name.
That's good enough for me. We have a glass here, or beaker,
Yes.
whatever you prefer to call it, Mr. Latung, and we wondered if you would show us what exactly you do in your line of work.
Of course, of course, of course.
Perhaps you could identify.
Chateau Mouton, Blanc, 58.
No.
59. 62.
No.
Chablis.
No, it isn't. Afraid not.
Of course, you must taste, of course. It's a Marc Lafitte Sauterne, 1929. There's nothing like it. There will never be
No,
a
it
wine.
isn't. That's
It's
not-
not.
that's not correct.
It's not Marc Lafitte. Take another little taste, a little off tonight. Little pepper for lunch, you know, destroy the taste bud. Okay? It's beer.
I don't know.
No?
Yeah, I think not.
Is it chiclets?
No, I'm afraid you're not even warm.
It's a potato knish. It's farmer cheese.
No, I'm afraid you're really way off now.
Goobers?
No, you're far from
No?
it.
I don't know what it is.
I was on Martha's Vineyard.
I saw
doing
you
a
on Martha's
show
Vineyard with Robert Shaw.
Yeah, and I was doing a thing with Walter Cronkite. That's what, and I talked about Jaws being made, and I went over there and I ran into Shaw, whom I also did a show with. He was in trouble because if he worked much longer, he would lose his whatever it is, the complicated thing with taxes and so on, where he stayed in the country too long.
He put all his money in Ireland, and he didn't pay taxes, British taxes. But if he stayed too long in America, everything we paid him for Jaws would go to the IRS. And he was, every day he would remind me that he could only be there one more week, and we were only in our 40th day of shooting. And he was saying, if I'm here one more week, I lose all of my salary. And in fact, he lost about 3/4 of the money to the IRS because he overstayed his legal welcome.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but I had an image of you, which I'll never forget.
Oh, please tell me. I love those.
You were you came to visit Robert and Walter Cronkite, and you were standing on one of the picture boats watching.
Yes.
And you had a little parka on, you had a little scarf on, and you were standing there all by
A
yourself.
little one, not mine?
No, it was. And the whole crew was watching you with great envy, and I was wondering why the crew was staring at you. And certainly they recognized you as being who you are, but then I began to look into their eyes, and I realized that you got to go home that night. And everybody else had to stay for 6 more months.
It was like someone visiting a prison.
A prison, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. How did you deal with that psychology? I mean, everybody with that burden on them must have.
We had
been
people
really
crack up. We really had people crack up. We had our gaffer, our lighting gaffer, go a little crazy, and he began wearing his baseball cap backwards, and he got a bullhorn, electric bullhorn, and began narrating the making of the movie, sitting on a small stepladder on a pitching and rolling boat, without just narrating who was coming aboard and who was doing this and who was making a mistake and picking up a plant, which is another union. You're not supposed to pick up a plant if you're a carpenter.
Yeah.
And
too much pressure.
Too much pressure. We had
long.
people go back to L.A. With their eyes swimming.
Well, of course, the old timers were saying, boy, these smart-ass people from Hollywood, they didn't even know about tides.
They're right. Yeah, the Coast Guard also came over one day in a helicopter with a bullhorn, laughing over the bullhorn. They keyed the mic and began to laugh, and we had to endure that for 5 minutes.
What were the? Did you get it on tape? What were the natural wonders and phenomena that you didn't know about? Besides tides and sky, I guess, were the things.
Well, the one natural phenomenon that none of us had any idea was that we couldn't walk on the water. We all assumed that we could get out to the ocean. It would be like working on dry land, or worse, like on shallow jello.
Yeah.
And it turned out that when you've got your boats in the water and the wind starts to blow, all the anchors move. And when you're all set for a shot, there's a camera boat and there's a lighting boat with a generator, and there's the picture boat with the actors on it. And when the wind began to blow, each boat would move in a different direction, usually away from the center. And I often was shooting a horizon line, where before there was Scheider, Dreyfuss, and Shaw, there was nothing but a horizon. And it was chaos. It was total chaos. None of us, we should have really cooperated with the Coast Guard and let them show us how to make the movie, because none of us were seaworthy.
That would have saved a month, maybe, or something?
It would have saved a few weeks. The shark not working is what cost most of the time.
Well, the mechanical
shark never
not
worked.
working. I thought you meant that a live shark went on strike.
No.
Or something. It's about the only union that hasn't.
No. Brian De Palma, who came to the location once to visit me and left the very next day, went back and told all his friends his impression. He saw the first test of the shark, and he went back to New York, and he said, words won't describe it. And he made a hand gesture. He said, this was the first test of the shark. And the jaws open like this. And then I say, okay, close the jaws. And it's like so. And,
I hate a slack-jawed shark.
Yeah, me too. 6 months of this.
But how do you ever get a shot from when the camera's on one boat and the actors are on another, unless it's dead calm, because the camera's always going to be moving?
Well, actually, that adds to the excitement. That's very good. If it's dead calm, or if the camera's too locked down to the boat, you don't have a feeling that you're on the water. It could even look like a process shot, like a rear projection effect.
So a little movement.
So a little movement
hurt.
is great. As a matter of fact, the man who photographed Taxi Driver and Raging Bull, Michael Chapman, was the camera operator on Jaws, and he's an extraordinary operator. He handheld 70% of the movie just to keep some movement in the frame and still maintain a flat horizon line.
Would you ever do that on land, put a little movement in just to get a little, or would it have to be explained by being on water?
No, I haven't made my personal movie yet. That's a personal movie effect right there. Is when we walk into a room with a camera and it's all sort of verite. But I've always been a little more slick in terms of on land wanting to lock the camera down and essentially standardize most of the movements.
How long has that remarkable thing been around where they can, what's it called? The
Luma crane?
No, it's a camera that a man wears and can move around with, but it's so counterweighted and has such an elaborate rig.
Steadicam.
Steadicam. That even if he were to move like that, the camera won't, because it compensates some way.
Yeah, you can't shoot a love scene with that camera. It's awful. You have to.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you can follow people down corridors and up staircases. The great effect in Rocky, which I think sold Steadicam to the industry, was when Stallone runs up the stairs and turns. That's a man running next to him as fast as Stallone is going with the camera handheld.
That wouldn't have been possible before.
No, not before at all. You would have had to build an intricate dolly track and counterweighted because you're going up a 30-degree slope. It would have been impossible.
Gee, that's interesting stuff. I like all of that stuff. I remember, yes, it was the day as you were shooting where he slides toward the jaws of the shark, I believe, and the sinking tug.
I'm sorry you were there for that.
And,
that was a terrible day.
Yeah, there was an old sea captain there, a real one, who was not impressed at all by movie people.
Yeah.
They never are. They make a point of that.
That's right. Yeah. But they make a lot of money by taking greenhorns like us fishing for shark out off Montauk,
Oh, yeah, that's where they are.
Yeah.
I know a pilot. Sharks became very fashionable because of your movie, and there's a pilot who flies from the point of Long Island to New York and back. And he said, half the time I see sharks in among the bathers at Jones Beach. So they don't know they're there. They're always around.
Yeah, well, sharks are like sharks are like men of war in the water, or bass, or just another sea animal, and they really don't. They don't attack man. The great white shark has been most, and much maligned for going after man. In fact, he does, but there are fewer of them, so we hear less about it.
That's right.
Yes.
But if they're right among those bathers all the time, it proves that they don't always attack. Well, what did you do with your non-working shark problem? Did the shark's mechanical specialist have to rebuild the thing constantly?
Well, the first mistake with the shark was they made a big mistake and they built it for fresh water. Now, they all knew we were going to the Atlantic Ocean, but for some reason they built it for fresh water.
What's the difference?
Well, electrolysis is a major problem when you get salt into all the machinery, into the electrical system. And so they tested the shark for the first time in the water, and we had at least 20 boats of tourists who had gathered around an area to watch the shark work. And we had the shark on a huge 90-foot platform, 30 feet underwater, and at the press of a hydraulic button and pulling a lever back, supposedly the shark comes shooting out of the water head first. And this has absolutely happened because David Brown and Dick Zanuck were there watching with me. The shark came up tail first. It just came up tail first, and it was like it was like a 25-foot moon. And all the tourists out there essentially, went back. I guess we read Peter Betterstein's book in hopes that the book would be more exciting than the movie. But that was the first test of the shark. It was a total disaster. We never fixed the shark, but in the cutting room, I was able to use so little of it and imply so much more that when you finally do see the shark, it's a little bit lethargic, and that's where the story demanded that I show more than just the dorsal fin. And that was the last few minutes of the movie.
Nobody suggested using a real trained shark or anything.
They did, as a matter of fact. They did suggest
Serious?
that. We, Dick Zanuck, who is an amazing guy, I think he's one of the best producers in the world today, and he had a great old Hollywood idea. He said, why don't we use a real shark? But when we shoot all the scenes with Richard Dreyfuss in the cage, we'll use a midget in the cage and build a half-size cage, so it'll make a 15-foot great white shark look like a 30-foot great white shark. So I said, well, why don't we try it? So Universal spent some money, and we actually went to Australia with a midget who told us that he knew how to scuba dive. As a matter of fact, I was interviewing midgets one day for this part. Absolutely a true story. And one of the small gentleman came into my office covered in blood. He had cuts here, he had cuts here, his arms were cut. And I said, what happened to you? He said, well, look, I really got to get this job, and I just racked up my car in front of the Universal Studio Tour gate, and I got into a traffic accident, but I had to come in and get the job. I didn't want to be late. It was 3 o'clock. He was going to be late. So we had the ambulance attendants come around to my office to take care of him. And I assumed anybody who was that brave to leave an accident to get a job, to go into the water with a real live shark, deserves the job. So we sent him to Australia with Ron and Valerie Taylor, who I'm sure you must have heard of.
Yeah? Oh, yes. You see them in film. You see her down among the sharks.
Blue Water, White Death.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays with the sharks.
Yeah.
So, it's like a Joan Emery of underwater, that sort of thing.
You realize how many bleeding midgets are going to audition for you now?
Well, the thing was, he was drinking coffee one day after 2 days of having no luck even finding a great white, and there were some very bright metallic miniature cages in a small boat being towed by the larger boat in Australia. And one of the sharks, being attracted by the lure of this silver, came out of the water and bit the cage in the boat and took the cage out of the boat. And the guy suddenly was no longer there. The midget was gone. They couldn't find him. He had locked himself into the head of the ship and wouldn't come out. And Valerie had to take a butter knife and unlock the door and make him aware that he was being paid $10,000 to perform That's Incredible.
Are you saying that the shark reached up into the boat and took
It was
the
very
cage,
easy.
or a cage that was being dragged?
It was a cage that was being dragged that the shark got hold of and tore to pieces.
Yeah.
The cage that he was going to go in.
My image is that sharks get up into the boat that I'm in and start after me. I've had that.
Yeah, that's
the best thing to do
nightmare.
when you see a shark, if you're in the water, is the first rule is to get into the center of a large city. That's my advice.
Well, Jaws 3 is about a land shark. It's about it's about a shark who is killed in Jaws 2, becomes a ghost, and haunts the city.
One of the dread land sharks. I thought they were all agents. Oh, but seriously, folks.
Seriously.